Algebra word problems number 37b, write solve equations for mixtures, 3 variables. We're going to solve for x, y, and z, but z is going to trick us, and it's going to turn into an x plus y. Tala sells real estate. On 3 recent sales, she made 10% commission, 6% commission, and 5% commission. That's for the 3 sales. Her total commissions on these sales were $17,000, and she sold property worth $280,000. So that's the amount of the 3 house prices, okay? Then her commission was the $17,000. If the 5% sale amounted to the sum of the other 2, what were the 3 sale prices? So this is where the third one, we had 10 and then 6, that's x, that's y, and then that was supposed to be z, but it says it amounted to the sum of the other 2. Sum means adding, so that means if you added the other 2 together, you'd get that one. So the z turned into an x plus y. So watch. We know she sold 3 houses. We know her commissions were 10%, 6%, and 5%. We know the commissions totaled $17,000. We know the houses cost $280,000 together, the 3 houses. We also know the 5% commission house was equal to the price of the other 2 added together, and we know we need to find the prices of the 3 houses. So here they are. Here's the 10% house. It's X amount of dollars that it sold for. Here's the 6% commission house. It sold for Y dollars because we don't know. And here's the 5% commission house, and its sale price was equal to X and Y together, so it's X plus Y. We know that the commissions, the 10, the 6, and the 5%, totaled $17,000. We also know that whatever X, Y, and X plus Y equal, the total sale prices were $280,000. So here's our table. In the first line, we're going to put the percent. The 10%, the 6%, the 5%. 10, 6, 5. Okay? And in the second line, that's our percent line, then we're going to do quantity, the sale price. Well, we don't know the sale price, so we've got X for the 10, Y for the 6, and X plus Y for the 5. So now, because we know that the X plus Y plus X plus Y equaled $280,000, we have equation 1. Right here, the quantity is equation 1. And equation 2 is going to be the commissions. When you want to find the commission of something, how much commission you're going to earn, you take the big amount and you multiply it by the percentage of commission that you're earning. And that will tell you. You find the percent of it, okay? So 10% of $100 would be $10. So we have to multiply that percentage by that big amount, that sale price. So that's how we're getting our second equation. We're coming straight down. 10 times x would be 10x, but because it's a percentage, we got 0.10x. See? 6 times x would be 6 times y would be 6y, but because it's a percentage, we've got 0.06y. That's what 6% is as a decimal, 0.06. And for the 5% one, 5% written as a decimal is 0.05, so 5% times the x plus y becomes 0.05 in parentheses x plus y. And we know that these commissions equaled $17,000. So there we have equation 1 and equation 2. All right? So now let's move up here. I've got them nice and neat in a box. There's equation 1 and equation 2. And the very first thing we're going to do is remove these parentheses. And if you remember my mother bird, and she distributes the food to the first baby and then to the second baby, and no babies starve here. Everybody gets food. Okay? Same thing with these. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply the 0.05 to the x and then 0.05 to the y. And we'll put the plus sign in between them. See? 0.05x plus 0.05y. That's removing the parentheses. So now this is our new equation 2. All right? Now what we need to do is combine the like terms in equation 2 because we've got a lot of x's and y's here, don't we? So we add them together. 0.10 plus 0.05, 10 plus 5 makes 15, so now we have 0.15x. The 0.06 plus the 0.05, 6 and 5 is 11, so we have 0.11y. And we know it equals the 17,000. Well, now what we need to do is multiply both sides of this equation by 100, and that will remove the decimals. We multiply it to this one, and then we multiply it to this one. On each side of the equation, we're doing the same thing. So remember, like I always say, the equation is like a scale, and whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side, so it keeps its balance. So what happens is, by multiplying this by 100, we move the decimal point from in front of the 1, boom, boom, to behind the 5. And it goes from in front of the 1, boom, boom, to behind the second one. Okay? But what's going to happen to the 17,000? We're going to add 2 zeros. See? It did have a decimal point here. So by adding this 0 and this 0, we're able to move the decimal point back here. But what happens to the number? It becomes 1,700,000. See? It's now 1,700,000, and this is now 15x, and that's 11y. And now we don't have any decimal points. All right, so we're finished working with equation 2. Now it's equation 1's turn. So you remember equation 1? X plus y plus x plus y equals 280,000. So now we need to combine the like terms in equation 1. So the x plus y equals 280,000 becomes 2x plus 2y. See? And it equals to 280,000. All right? So here's the next step, and I want you to watch very closely. Observe this 15x in equation 2. All right? And we're going to multiply both sides of equation 1, the 2x plus 2y, by a negative 7.5 to eliminate this x. All right? Now, why did I do that? Well, we found what we needed to multiply 2x by in equation 1 to eliminate it. See, 15 divided by 2 equals 7.5. So if we multiply by negative 7.5 on each side of equation 1, that's going to turn that into a negative 15x. See? And then that's going to turn the 280,000, because it needs to be multiplied by 7.5. What you do for one side of the equation, you have to do for the other side of the equation, right? So both of these get multiplied by negative 7.5, and they become negative 15x and negative 15y. And this gets multiplied by negative 7.5, and it becomes negative 2,100,000. Now, that is our new equation 1. Okay? We're only going to use it for a little while, and then I'm going to revert back to the original equation 1. But right now, this is our new equation 1. Negative 15x minus negative 15y equals 2,100,000. And here's what we're going to do with it. Now that we multiplied both sides by negative 7.5, we were able to take that 2x and turn it into a negative 15x, and now look what we can do. We can eliminate the 15x. Then we have a plus 11 take away 15. That puts us into the negatives because 11's not big enough, and we have negative 4y. We take the 1,700,000 and take away the 2,100,000, and that gives us a negative 400,000. So now, because negative 4y means multiply, we're multiplying to the variable, the inverse operation to get rid of that negative 4 is division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. What's going to happen is this is going to turn into a 1, and it'll isolate y. 400,000 divided by negative 4 becomes 100,000. That's the price of the house for y. So now we know that this house right here is not y. We know it's 100,000. 1 down, 2 to go. And look at, we know that this is 100,000 plus x. So we're almost there, okay? So now we know that y equals 100,000, all right? So here's our next step. Step number 7. We're going to plug that y equals 100,000 into equation 1, into the old equation 1. The old equation 1 that said 2x plus 2y. That was the xy plus xy, see? The x plus y plus x plus y. We're going to plug it into this equation, okay? That original negative equation 1. So instead of having y, we put 100,000 there. So now we've got 2x plus 2 times 100,000 equals 280,000. So now we can subtract the 200,000 from each side of the equation. And what happens is it eliminates this. Plus 2,000 minus 2,000 makes a 0. So now we drop down our 2x. 280,000 minus 200,000 on this side makes 80,000. And now we need to divide each side as the inverse operation of multiplication. 2x means 2 times x, whatever that variable is. And the inverse to undo this and get rid of the 2 would be division. So we divide both sides by the 2. And it gets rid of this as a 1. And we know we don't put a 1 in front of our variables. We can see there's one variable there. So when the numerator and denominator are the same, it makes a 1. And now we have 80,000 divided by 2. Well, 80,000 divided by 2 is 40,000. We now know that x equals 40,000. Ha ha ha. So we know that this one is 40,000. Well, guess what? If we know this is 40,000 and we know this is 100,000, we know this one. 40,000 and 100,000 makes 140,000. See? Now we know our prices. So we know that X, the 10% commission house price, was 40,000. Y, the 6% commission house price, was 100,000. And the X plus Y, the 5% commission house, was both of these together, 140. See? And when you add them all up together, they're 280,000, and it worked. So there's a lot of steps to this. Wasn't there a lot of steps? But it's not that they're hard steps, it's just that there's so many. So my advice to you, as I said in the last video, make a copy of an equation and a word problem like this with all of this work spelled out with all the steps and what we did, and use it as a template or a guide to solve future ones until you're really good at this, okay? And that way, when you do your first few, you get really confused about what was I supposed to do next? But if you have one that's already all spelled out and solved, you'll be able to look at it and say, oh, I've got to do that to my problem. And you'll be able to follow along, okay? So all of these are a little bit different. I'm going to do one more with hydrogen peroxide solutions, and that will be it for my mixtures, okay? Hope to see you there. Bye.